Some foods go bad quicker than a politician backing out of a campaign promise, but others seem almost enchanted, capable of sitting quietly on a shelf for years, or even decades, and still tasting perfectly fine. If you're preparing for a major storm, bracing for rising prices, or just trying to avoid that dreaded last-minute dash to the grocery store, now's the moment to start planning ahead. There are certain foods that don't just survive over time, they thrive through it. Believe me, when the day finally comes that you need them, you'll be very glad they're already waiting in your pantry. We've organized this list from simply useful to downright legendary. Number 20 is a dependable pick, but the top spot? That one's a total game changer. Let's jump right in, starting with number 20. White rice earns its spot on the list for good reason. It's affordable, incredibly adaptable in the kitchen, and when you store it the right way, it can remain usable for 30 years or even longer. Seriously, that's not hype. You don't have to just take my word for it either. Archaeologists have uncovered rice in ancient burial sites that was still safe to eat after sitting there for thousands of years, which is kind of wild when you think about it. The reason it lasts so long comes down to how it's processed. White rice has had the natural oils removed, and those oils are usually what cause foods to turn rancid over time. When you seal rice in airtight storage with oxygen absorbers, think Mylar bags or food-grade buckets, it becomes almost ridiculously shelf-stable. Stored like this, your rice will likely outlive most of your long-term emergency plans. On top of that, it's lightweight, packed with calories, and extremely flexible. You can turn it into stir-fries, simple side dishes, or even a basic porridge if resources are limited. Throughout history, during wars, famines, and supply chain collapses, rice has consistently remained a cornerstone food. It's been so essential during hard times that people often use it for trading when things fall apart. Rice is trusted, familiar, and universally valued. Basically, it functions like edible currency when everything else goes sideways. Coming in at number 19, canned vegetables. Now, let's be real. No one is handing out fine dining trophies for a can of green beans. They're probably not topping your weekly meal plan either. But put yourself in an emergency where fresh produce is long gone, and suddenly that same can feels like a 5-star upgrade. Funny how perspective changes. Canned vegetables are basically compact time capsules of food. During the canning process, the vegetables are vacuum sealed and often cooked right inside the can, which sterilizes them and locks in their shelf life from day one. When kept in a cool, dry place, they can remain safe to eat for 5 to 10 years, and in many cases even beyond that. Here's a perk most people overlook. Canned vegetables contain liquid. That means they can also help with hydration when clean drinking water is limited. In survival situations, it's not just about calories, it's about staying hydrated too, and those cans quietly pull double duty when the faucet stops working. Nutritionally speaking, these veggies still bring plenty to the table. They're loaded with fiber, antioxidants, and key vitamins and minerals your body needs to function. No, they don't have the crisp bite of freshly harvested spinach, but they still deliver solid nutrition in a surprisingly durable form. Their plain looks are deceiving. Canned vegetables have helped people get through hard times for generations. If you're looking for a dependable, long-lasting, nutrient-rich food to support your emergency supplies, canned veggies deserve a spot on your shelf. They'll help keep you nourished, hydrated, and better prepared when it matters most. Number 18 goes to honey, and this is where things get seriously impressive. Here's a fact that sounds made up but isn't. Archaeologists have uncovered jars of honey in Egyptian tombs that are over 3,000 years old, and they were still completely safe to eat. No trick, no exaggeration. That's just raw honey doing what it does best, refusing to expire. So how does honey pull off this near immortality? It comes down to chemistry. Honey contains very little moisture and has a naturally high acidity, creating an environment where bacteria simply can't survive. No bacteria means no spoilage. If you keep honey sealed in a glass jar, it can sit untouched for decades, and potentially even centuries, without going bad. But honey isn't only valuable because it lasts forever. For thousands of years, it's been used as a natural antibiotic and healing aid. It can help calm a sore throat, support wound care, and even aid digestion. In a survival situation, those benefits can turn a miserable day into one that's at least manageable. And if your honey starts to crystallize, that's not a problem at all. A little gentle warmth brings it right back to life. You could survive on basics like rice and beans alone, sure, but adding honey makes those meals far more tolerable. When times are tough, a little sweetness goes a long way. Number 17 belongs to ramen noodles. And yes, the same humble meal that powered countless college students through late-night study sessions also happens to be a surprisingly smart survival food. Those compact, tightly wrapped blocks of noodles and seasoning packets are built to last far longer than most people realize. When kept in a cool, dry environment, ramen can stay good for up to 10 years. That's a full decade of reliable, ready-to-go carbohydrates sitting on standby. Now, let's not pretend ramen is a health food superstar. It's not taking home any nutrition awards anytime soon. But in an emergency, calories matter more than perfection, and ramen delivers fast, inexpensive energy with almost no effort. All you need is hot water, a few minutes, and suddenly you've got a warm, filling meal you can count on. Ramen's long shelf life comes down to two simple things: very low moisture and airtight packaging. Together, those features make it difficult for bacteria to grow and spoil the food. One important tip, though: avoid the foam cup versions. They tend to break down faster over time. Instead, stick with the brick-style packs and store them in airtight containers. That extra step protects them from humidity and pests, helping your ramen stay usable when you really need it. Number 16 is white vinegar, and this is one of those items that genuinely earns its reputation as an all-purpose workhorse. Sure, it shows up in recipes, but that's only a small part of what it can do. White vinegar doubles as a powerful cleaner, works as a natural preservative, and, here's the real kicker, it never actually expires. It doesn't matter whether you bought it last month or 10 years ago, vinegar stays vinegar. Its secret is its high acidity, which makes it naturally self-preserving. It won't spoil, it won't grow mold, and its flavor doesn't drift over time. Need to pickle vegetables? Easy. Have to wipe down grimy counters after a kitchen mishap? No problem. Looking to tenderize meat for a hearty stew or calm a stubborn wasp sting? Vinegar can handle that too. It's one of those rare items that seems to have a solution for almost everything. Another big win is how practical it is. White vinegar is inexpensive, doesn't take up much space, and a few large jugs can last for years while covering a wide range of needs. There's no refrigeration required either. Just keep it stored in a cool, dark spot away from direct sunlight, and it'll be ready whenever you need it. Number 15 brings us to lentils, and while they may not have the flash or hype of trendier superfoods, they're absolutely worth your attention. These small, unassuming legumes often get ignored, but for long-term food storage, they're about as close to perfect as it gets. When kept dry and stored correctly, lentils can remain usable for up to 30 years without losing their nutritional punch. That's 3 decades of shelf life with zero need for refrigeration. Pretty impressive for something so simple. Longevity aside, lentils shine when it comes to nutrition. They're loaded with protein, fiber, iron, and slow-burning complex carbohydrates, making them a serious fuel source when food options are limited. Another big advantage is how quickly they cook compared to other dried beans, which saves both time and energy. You can easily turn them into soups, thick stews, veggie burgers, or even savory baked dishes, depending on what you have on hand. If you're searching for a reliable plant-based protein that won't spoil over time, lentils are hard to beat. And if you're worried they're boring, that's only true if you leave them plain. Lentils soak up flavors incredibly well, acting like a blank canvas for spices, broth, tomato paste, or whatever seasonings you can spare. With just a little seasoning, they turn into a filling, comforting meal that's far more satisfying than you might expect. Number 14 is powdered milk, and while it may not be the most exciting item on your pantry shelf, it's a quiet essential when it comes to long-term food storage. The big advantage is simple. It delivers the same key benefits as fresh milk: calcium, protein, and important vitamins, without the constant worry of it going bad. When stored the right way, non-fat dry milk can last 20 years or longer, and that claim is backed by research, not marketing hype. Kept cool and dry, it stays safe and nutritionally useful for decades. Add water, and you've got milk again, ready for coffee, cereal, or baking projects. Is it identical to fresh milk? No, not exactly. But during an emergency, flavor takes a backseat to calories and nutrients, and powdered milk covers both bases. Beyond drinking it, you can also use it in pancakes, breads, sauces, and other recipes, which makes it far more flexible than people give it credit for. Once you open a package, transferring it into a Mylar bag or another airtight container with an oxygen absorber will help stretch its lifespan even further. It may not be flashy, but powdered milk is one of those behind-the-scenes items that can make a huge difference when supplies are limited. Number 13 is salt, and it deserves far more credit than it usually gets. Salt isn't just something you sprinkle on food, it has been one of humanity's most dependable preservation tools for centuries. And here's the best part. Salt doesn't expire. Whether it's basic table salt, sea salt, or Himalayan salt, it will last forever as long as you keep moisture away from it. Beyond improving flavor, salt plays a critical role in preserving food. It's essential for curing meats, keeping fish edible, fermenting vegetables, and making brines that extend shelf life. In a survival setting, that makes salt just as important as the food itself. It's not only about taste, it's about keeping what you have from spoiling. Salt is also vital for your body. It supports hydration, muscle movement, and nerve function, and without it, your body simply can't operate properly. Try surviving on plain rice and beans with no salt and see how far you get. One helpful tip: stick with plain, non-iodized salt. Added ingredients in iodized versions can break down over time. Store it in bulk, keep it dry, and you'll have a seasoning and preservation tool that lasts indefinitely. Number 12 is instant coffee, and while it may not be strictly necessary to stay alive, it can make a world of difference when everything else feels like it's falling apart. It's not going to impress a professional barista, but when you're dealing with stress, uncertainty, and long days, a dose of caffeine can do wonders for your mood and focus. When stored correctly, instant coffee can remain good for 20 years or more without losing its kick. Thanks to vacuum sealing and freeze drying, it's about as close to shelf-stable as food gets. One of its biggest advantages is simplicity. There's no need for refrigeration, no beans to grind, and no special equipment required. All you need is hot water, a quick stir, and suddenly you've got warmth, alertness, and a comforting sense of normalcy, even when life is anything but normal. Instant coffee is also lightweight and compact, which makes it ideal for bug-out bags, camping supplies, and long-term storage setups. As an added bonus, caffeine can slightly suppress appetite, helping you make your food supplies last longer in a tight situation. Whether it's keeping your mind sharp, lifting your spirits, or giving you a brief moment of calm, instant coffee more than earns its place in the top 20. Number 11 is canned meats, and if you're serious about long-term food storage, these deserve a prime spot on your shelves. Options like Spam, tuna, chicken, and sardines are loaded with protein and designed to sit safely in your pantry for years, fully sealed and ready to eat whenever you need them. Their impressive shelf life comes from the canning and vacuum sealing process, which sterilizes the contents and protects them from bacteria and spoilage right from the start. Canned meats are also high in calories, which makes them especially valuable when food is limited and energy demands are high. Need a fast protein boost to toss into a stir-fry, salad, or simple meal? A can of chicken or tuna gets the job done with zero hassle. But their value goes far beyond convenience. During power outages, supply shortages, or full-blown emergencies, fresh protein is often the first thing to disappear. Canned meats step in as a dependable alternative when other options aren't available. Even if the texture or flavor isn't your favorite, these foods can still keep you nourished and functioning when it matters most. And with a little creativity, they can actually taste pretty good. Add spices, mix them into stews or pasta, or throw them into a breakfast scramble to make them more enjoyable. When stored in a cool, dry place, canned meats typically last anywhere from 5 to 10 years, and they don't demand much storage space. When everything feels uncertain, having shelf-stable protein within reach can make a huge difference. Number 10 is oats, and while they might look plain or even a little boring at first glance, they're anything but unimpressive when it comes to long-term food storage. These simple grains are a favorite among preppers for good reason. Oats are budget-friendly, and when sealed in airtight containers and kept in a cool, dry environment, they can remain usable for 30 years or more. That's decades of shelf life with no refrigeration required. Whether you need a filling breakfast to start the day or a dependable, calorie-rich meal to keep your energy up during difficult times, oats are a solid, go-to option. They're loaded with fiber, iron, and slow digesting complex carbohydrates, making them both nourishing and sustaining. Oats also shine when it comes to versatility. You can cook them into a warm bowl of oatmeal, bake them into granola bars or snacks, or mix them into soups, stews, and baked goods. They work especially well as a base for other ingredients like dried fruit, nuts, honey, or spices such as cinnamon because they soak up flavors so easily. On top of all that, oats are lightweight, simple to store, and don't require refrigeration, making them an easy and reliable addition to any long-term pantry. Number 9 is sugar. And while it might seem like a comfort item rather than a necessity, it plays a much bigger role in survival than most people realize. When stored correctly and kept dry, sugar lasts forever. It doesn't spoil, break down, or lose its sweetness over time, which makes it ideal for long-term storage. In an emergency, sugar is far more than something to sweeten a drink. Its real value comes from how versatile it is. Sugar has been used for centuries as a natural preservative, helping extend the life of fruits, vegetables, and even certain meats. When food supplies are limited, that ability to preserve what you have can be a game changer. You can use it to make jams, syrups, or simply add it to meals to boost calorie intake when energy demands are high. Speaking of energy, sugar delivers fast calories when your body needs them most. During a crisis, physical and mental stress can burn through energy quickly, and sugar provides an immediate fuel source. It's also useful for making high-calorie foods like baked goods or homemade energy bars. And let's not overlook morale. When everything else tastes dull and repetitive, a touch of sweetness can go a long way toward lifting spirits. Stocking sugar isn't just about flavor. It's a practical survival asset that supports food preservation, energy needs, and mental resilience when times get hard. Number 8 is cooking fats, specifically oils and ghee. And this is one category no serious survival pantry should be without. Anyone who's ever tried to cook long-term staples knows that a satisfying, filling meal is nearly impossible without some form of fat. Whether you're using vegetable oil, olive oil, or ghee, these ingredients do more than improve taste. Fats are essential for energy, nutrient absorption, and overall body function, especially when food options are limited. The good news is that both oils and ghee store surprisingly well. Kept in a cool, dark place, most cooking oils can remain usable for 2 to 3 years. Ghee lasts even longer thanks to its low moisture content and natural stability. That extended shelf life makes ghee especially valuable, and unlike regular butter, it can handle high cooking temperatures without breaking down. It works beautifully for frying, sautéing, and baking. Oils like olive oil serve a different but equally important role. They're great for salad dressings, adding richness to soups, or drizzling over grains and vegetables to make simple meals more satisfying. Beyond flavor, cooking fats significantly increase calorie intake, which is critical in a survival situation. When supplies are tight, having oil or ghee on hand can turn basic ingredients into nourishing, comforting meals that actually keep you going. Number 7 covers freeze-dried and canned fruits. And when fresh fruit becomes a rare treat, these options step in as the next best thing. They provide a welcome burst of sweetness and freshness at times when produce simply isn't available. One of the biggest advantages of freeze-dried fruit is its incredible longevity. When stored properly, it can last up to 25 years while still holding on to most of its flavor and nutritional value. Unlike fresh fruit, which can spoil in a matter of days, freeze-dried options like apples, strawberries, and blueberries can sit quietly in your pantry for decades. That means you'll always have a nutritious, ready-to-eat snack when you need it most. Canned fruits don't last quite as long, but with a shelf life of 3 to 5 years, they're still a dependable source of vitamins and natural sugars during difficult times. Freeze-dried fruit is especially versatile. You can eat it straight from the bag, mix it into oatmeal or yogurt, or use it in baking to add flavor and texture. It's lightweight, compact, and easy to store, which makes it perfect for bug-out bags, emergency kits, or long-term food storage. Canned fruits like peaches, pineapple, and pears offer another reliable way to keep fruit in your diet without worrying about spoilage. When fresh isn't an option, these alternatives help keep meals balanced and morale a little higher. Number 6 is bouillon cubes, and while flavor might seem like a low priority in a survival scenario, these little cubes prove that it doesn't have to be. Despite their small size, Bouillon cubes and granules are loaded with concentrated flavor that can completely change the way basic meals taste. When you're living on staples like rice, beans, or canned vegetables, they become a total game changer by adding depth and richness that would otherwise be missing. Bouillon cubes also store exceptionally well. Depending on how they're kept, they can last anywhere from 5 to 10 years and sometimes even longer. They're lightweight, compact, and take up almost no space, which makes them an easy addition to emergency supplies, bug-out bags, or long-term food storage. It's easy to overlook something so small, but bouillon cubes punch far above their weight. When your meals start to feel repetitive and your taste buds are begging for something more than plain survival food, these cubes can bring comfort and familiarity back to the table with minimal effort. Meals ready to eat, commonly known as MREs, are the go-to option when you need a complete, nutritious meal with zero preparation involved. There's no cooking, no extra tools, and no guesswork. Originally designed for military use, MREs have earned a reputation as one of the most practical and reliable survival foods out there. Each meal comes sealed in a durable pouch and includes everything you need: an entree, sides, snacks, condiments, and even a dessert. When stored under the right conditions, MREs typically remain good for 5 to 10 years, and sometimes even longer. That makes them an easy way to guarantee access to a balanced, ready-to-eat meal during emergencies when time, fuel, or clean water may be limited. Another major advantage is their portability. MREs are compact and lightweight, which makes them ideal for bug-out bags, camping gear, or any scenario where you need shelf-stable food that can travel with you. When convenience and nutrition matter most, MREs deliver both without complication. Number 4 is wheat berries, and at first glance they don't exactly look impressive. They're simply whole, untouched wheat kernels, nothing fancy at all. But don't be fooled by how plain they appear. These grains are one of the most versatile survival foods you can store. When sealed in airtight containers and kept in a cool environment, wheat berries can last 30 years or longer without issue. What really sets them apart is how stable they are compared to flour. Flour can turn rancid relatively quickly, but whole wheat berries hold onto their nutrients and freshness for decades. That means you can store them long-term and grind them into fresh flour only when you actually need it. If you want to bake bread from scratch, just grind the berries. If you're looking for a warm, filling porridge, soak and cook them. And if you want something chewy, nutritious, and satisfying, cooked wheat berries work perfectly in salads or simple meals. They may be small, but wheat berries are a true survival multi-tool in food form. Number 3 is hardtack, and if bread had a battle-hardened, no-nonsense ancestor, this would be it. Hardtack is the legendary survival biscuit that kept sailors, soldiers, and explorers alive long before modern kitchens, or even forks, were a thing. The reason it's still talked about today is simple. It refuses to go away. Made from nothing more than flour and water, hardtack can remain edible for decades, even centuries, when stored correctly. That kind of longevity is almost unheard of in food. Now, let's be clear. This isn't comfort food. It's not soft, fluffy, or flavorful. Eating hardtack is more like gnawing on a flour-based brick. But when supplies are gone and options are limited, hardtack earns its reputation. It's the survival world's equivalent of a cockroach, tough, persistent, and nearly impossible to destroy. When everything else fails, it's still there, still edible, and still capable of keeping you alive when it counts most. Number 2 is pemmican, and long before protein bars, energy gels, or MREs ever existed, indigenous peoples across North America were already relying on this food to survive and thrive. Pemmican is the definition of efficient nutrition. It's made from dried meat, rendered fat, and sometimes dried berries, creating a compact food that delivers protein, fat, and carbohydrates all in one dense package. This wasn't just trail food for casual use. Explorers, trappers, and warriors depended on pemmican during long, grueling journeys when resupplying wasn't an option. It provided sustained energy, required no cooking, and packed an incredible number of calories into a small space. When stored correctly, pemmican can last for decades without refrigeration, which is almost unheard of for something so nutrient-rich. Think of it as the original survival power bar. No flashy wrapper, no artificial additives, and no unnecessary sugar. Whether you're navigating the wilderness or building a serious emergency food reserve, pemmican remains a proven, time-tested option. It's simple, brutally effective, and designed to keep you going when conditions are at their worst. Number 1 is peanut butter, and this is where we crown the undisputed champion of survival foods, the MVP, the GOAT. And no, it's not some obscure ancient grain or a futuristic freeze-dried meal dreamed up in a lab. It's plain, familiar, unstoppable peanut butter. And the reason it takes the top spot is simple. It does everything right. Peanut butter is loaded with calories, packed with protein, rich in healthy fats, and full of essential nutrients like magnesium, vitamin E, and niacin. Just 2 tablespoons deliver close to 200 calories of shelf-stable energy, which is massive when food is scarce and your body needs fuel fast. In a survival situation, that kind of efficiency matters. But what really locks in its number 1 status is convenience. Peanut butter doesn't need refrigeration. It stays good for years when unopened. It's ready to eat straight out of the jar with zero prep. And maybe most important of all, it actually tastes great. When things are stressful, cold, and exhausting, morale becomes just as important as nutrition. A spoonful of peanut butter in that moment isn't just food, it's comfort. You can spread it on crackers, mix it into oats, blend it with powdered milk, or, let's be honest, eat it straight off the spoon like a slightly unhinged pantry raccoon. Somehow it never gets old. Crunchy or creamy, natural or classic, it doesn't really matter. As long as the jar is sealed and stored somewhere cool and dry, peanut butter has your back. And that brings us to the end of the list. 20 survival foods that don't just last for decades, but actually make sense to keep around. Some are practical, some are ancient, some are basically edible bricks, but every single one earned its place. When things go sideways, these foods help keep you fed, energized, and maybe even smiling. No fridge, no electricity, no problem. You're still eating. Now go stock up and do it like a legend.